Subscribe, please click the like button, share and subscribe. It's free.
And have a very brief discussion with you on the content of this document. I'm going to request the court orderly. Okay, thank you, sir. It's one for the court. Thank you. I think the state does have this document because these are all the documents I've got from the state. And just show them what document am I referring them to. Just show the state. Just show the state. I'm referring to that document. As it is the court, my lord, subsequent to this, I'm going to request that this document be admitted in as an exhibit, my lord. I've just lost the count of the number of documentary exhibits that, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. Yeah, but nonetheless, Lieutenant Colonel, these are my instructions from Mr Mncube. That number one, now this is a document that comes from the South African Police Services. Very briefly, it was a document that was prepared by Major Bayat and Detective Constable Dlamini in 28 February 2015. It's a document that it's a memorandum that they actually directed to the Forensic Science Laboratory, a unit that you're working for, that's the Ballistic section, and it's addressed to Captain Makula, which says is a request for IB's comparison. Never mind the spelling mistake. It's a request for IB's comparison. But my instructions from Mr Mncube are as follows. Is that subsequent to the alleged discovery of the firearm, or let me put it this way, subsequent to the discovery of the firearm allegedly in his possession, then there was a request that was done by Major Bayat and Detective Constable Dlamini that they should go, a request that was directed to the Ballistic section of the Forensic Science Laboratory, that they should trace, I'm avoiding to use the word check, but that they should check whether the firearm is in no way linked in the cases that are annotated in this document. I hope you follow.
I follow, my lord.
Thank you.
Lesicelo leli phepha leli linesicelo imemorandum yesicelo sasuvela kuMajor Bayat noDlamini esathunyelwa kuCaptain Mncube wase-Forensic Laboratory becela ukuthi akwenziwe uqhathaniso ngaphansi komshini lo IBIS. Emva kwaloko-ke kwase isicelo lesicelo ukuthi akuhlole ukuthi kungenzeka yini ukuthi lesi sibhamu lesi siyabandakanyeka yini kula macala.
I won't go through the list of all these cases, but imperatively, Foslorus case 63610 of 2014 is also mentioned among those cases.
Ngeke ngwafunda wonke la macala kodwa-ke icala leli la se-Foslorus, which number is it?
636. Foslorus case 636 of 10 of
636 ka-10 ka-2014. Wase-Foslorus naye ufakiwe kulolu hlu lwamacala abhaliwe la.
in other words, they were already aware of the incident of Phosphorus case 636 is the case that we're busy with here. So in other words, the police there at I think that is at Cleveland, they were already aware of this incident. So they also included it for a possible determination on whether the firearm that was allegedly found in possession of Mr. Mncube could have been one of the many ways also involved in the commission of the offense of Phosphorus case 63610 of 2014.
Usuthe ukuthi leli cala ukuze livele lapha kulamacala la abhaliwe lapha usho ukuthi basesebazi ukuthi kukhona leli cala leli ukuthi bagcina belifakile ukuthi kuhlolwe ukuthi na lokuzohlola lapha kuyabandakanyeka yini kuleli cala leli nalo elifakiwe.
Thank you. Now, what he instructs me is the following. Number one, that the investigating officers of this case, inter alia, that is amongst others, Warrant Officer Masondo, verbatimly informed him that as per the investigation of this case, they told him, that is now Masondo and company, the investigating officers of this case, that the firearm that was found in his possession, allegedly in his possession, was excluded as a firearm that was involved in the commission of this case in Phosphorus case 63610 of 2014.
Please, we object to to that question. It stated as a fact that Masondo and Dlamini told accused number 3 that this firearm was excluded. We submit, my lord, that it is unfair to put this question to the witness without laying any basis, showing any documents, and just put in that general proposition to the witness, my lord.
As it pleases the court, my lord, may I quickly respond? These are instructions. They don't come from me. Do you understand? So I cannot simply decide not to convey the instructions that are from my client to a witness, my lord. Remember, this case is not it's not about me, it's about him. And I find no offense, my lord, in putting this version to this witness, because that is what, if circumstances permit, or if circumstances were to warrant, he will come and tell this court. I'm not so sure whether, my lord, I should continue putting his version to this witness, or should I then discontinue?
You are counsel. You
Yes.
decide what you want to do.
As it pleases the court, madam, I'm going to decide to proceed to put the version.
Just before you put furthermore, this witness is testified, and it's not our recollection that this version was put to those
Are you talking about Mr.
Dlamini and Masondo.
Yeah, both of them testified.
Yes,
And this assertion was never put to both of them.
that is our recollection.
Because they alleged that with the informer in Cleveland on that street, when they saw this gentleman accompanied by his girlfriend
But yes,
in a car, they followed, and then the gentleman, in this case, got into the house. And then they arrested him, searched him, gave them permission and found the firearm there.
yes, that is
And when they
extent.
testified here,
Yes.
they never said anything about what is here today. It's fine, it's okay.
Indeed.
Listen,
As it pleases the court, my lord, R versus Hepworth.
no, I said you can proceed.
Thank
I'm
you,
not
my-
stopping.
Yes. it really does not mean, my lord, that if this version was never put to those two witnesses, it cannot be put now. Circumstances were to arise, we are going to make an application and request the court to recall them. And if the court were not to be amenable in recalling them in terms of section 186, we are going to call them as our very open door policy. Yes. Thank you, my lord.
Okay.
That was just number one. And number two, they also told him that because they also investigated his cell phone, they also found that his cell phone was not near the scene at the time at which it is alleged that this offense was committed.
Baphinde bamtshela nokuthi ke i-cellphone yakhe yayingekho eduze kwendawo yesigameko ngoba bayibheka ne-cellphone yakhe. Oqala bathi lesi sibhamu lesi satholakala asithinteki impilo.
I'm requesting an indulgence, but just to remind me one thing. I think there's something that I'm skipping that Mr. Mncube told me. May I take instructions?
Yeah. You can take instructions.
Oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you.
I can't stop you.
Thank you. Thank you for the indulgence, my lord. Further on, Lieutenant Colonel, Mr. Mncube is reminding me that there was a list of cases. I think that is when you were cross-examined by my colleague, Mr. Mncube, on behalf of accused number one, where you read into record a list of cases that were investigated in relation to the firearm that was allegedly found in his possession. I think that list was also handed in as an exhibit. I can't just remember that exhibit, but what I can remember is that at the very first bottom, at the very first top of that list, thank you, on page one, I think that is the affidavit that comprises of 27 pages. That was prepared by Yashni Berlinda Paul. You were requested to read into record the list of those cases that were investigated to find out if possibly the firearm allegedly found in his possession could also not be involved in those list of cases. But what I've noted is that you started by reading that the second case, which is a Sassolberg case, you omitted Foslora's case 636. I'm not so sure whether that was done purposefully or it was a mistake, but nonetheless, my instructions from him are that where are those results of this case, of these cases that you read into record, and whether or not firearm was also found to have been involved in the list of these cases that you read into record, including that case 63610 of 2014, as per the affidavit of Yashni Belinda Paul.
lokhu lana macala la owafundile ngesikhathi kuzo Mncube ukuthi ke ufuna ukwazi ukuthi ke sabandakanyeka yini lesi sibhamu kulawo lamacala.
Well, I'll start with the Yashni. There was a list of cases that I have read. I said the bullet in this case. There was a request to compare the bullet in this case, the first Doras case, with those cases starting with the Sassolberg case and the Ivanda and Yashni Paul did the comparison. The copy that we have is the report from Yashni Paul, where she did the comparison. So it was not to be done by myself, it was done by Yashni Paul.
Senza nomsebenzi kwakuYashni Paul ngoba kulunyana namacala lawa awasesasol nase-Evanda, so akubona into umsebenzi wenziwa yimina into owenza lo msebenzi kwakuYashni Paul.
Thank you.
And secondly, on the request, if you look at the request, it's sent to IBC for comparison.
Yes.
Ungabheka-ke nesicelo sithunyelwe ku-IBs ukuthi kuyoqanzwa umsebenzi wokuqhathanisa.
Yes.
The cases are mentioned there to be compared to the
Yes.
Macala-ke abhaliwe lapha afanele kuyoqhathaniswa-ke kulesi sibhamu lesi.
First Laws 363 of 2014 is also in the list.
Nje ku-First Laws 636 of 2014 nalo ikhona la.
Thank you, sir.
But I have explained how IBIS work. As I said, with the IBIS system, the integrated ballistics identification system, if it's pistols, we acquire only cartridge cases on the system. We don't acquire the bullets. So in this case, First Laws 636 of 10, there are no cartridge cases, it's only a bullet.
Okay.
So when they did a comparison, they compared the firearm with the cases where they were cartridge cases. There was no link between this firearm, and that's how they based this link, because there was no cartridge case and there was only bullet. And with this firearm, there was no bullet acquired on the system.
Thank you, sir.
Lokho kulapha bese ngichazile ukuthi i-IBIS isebenza kanjani. Ukuthi-ke uma kusetshenzwa-ke ngamapistoli ukuthi ibhamu lezi esingawahlanzi amagobolondo ezibhamu kusetshenziswa ibullet kuphela. Iyona-ke into eyenza ukuthi kugcine-ke bekwazile ukuthi basigeje bangasibonisi isibhamu.
Thank you, sir. Now, finally, this is what Mr. Mncube will come and tell his court, if needs be. He would say, he was never involved in the commission of this offense.
Umzinakathi uzofika athi lana yena akazange nje athinteke kula macala.
My Lord, I have linked the bullet that was recovered at the crime scene with the firearm.
Mina-ke ngikwazile ukukhombisa ukuxhumana kwale zinhlamvu ezatholakala endaweni yesigameko nesibhamu.
He will also say, he never was in possession of this firearm on this date.
Uzofika futhi athi ngalezo zinsuku isibhamu lesi kwangesona sakhe.
I cannot comment on that, my Lord.
Ngeke ngikwazi ukuphawula ngalokho.
He will further say that as per the state's allegation, on this day on which this offense was committed, he was never near the scene with Mr. Sibia, Mr. Ntanzi, Mr. Mapisa, Mr. Ntuli as well, at the scene.
Manje uzophika yena ukuthi wayekhona eduze noma kule ndawo leyisigameko ngalelo langa kanye noSibiya noNtanzi noMapisa noNtuli.
No comment, my Lord.
Anginakuphawula engakuletha.
Sorry, how do you phrase the assertion, Mr. MNISI? How did you phrase it?
I'm saying at the scene.
Yeah, fine. He will say he was never at the scene with some other people.
Let me repeat it.
Yes, the way you said it. Because you mentioned the names of Tanzi, Mapisa, Sibiya.
Yes, those are accused before court.
Yeah, I just want to clear my mind that you are saying that. You are saying that.
Yes.
He will say.
If needs be.
Yeah, fine, if needs be, he will say.
He will come and say he was never ever at the scene as it is alleged by the state in their indictment with Mr. Sibiya, Mr. Ntanzi, Mr. Mapisa, and Mr. Ntuli.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, madams. don't have a comment.
No comment, my lord.
Good, yes.
Yawa angingaphawula kulokho.
Finally, he will say that he will stick to his version that is supported in terms of the cell phone investigations that were presented by the state as per the testimony of Mrs. Vitilinga.
Azoqhubeka-ke athi yena-ke usekelwa uhlaziyo olwenziwa emafonini olwenziwa uMiss Vitilinga ukuthi wayengekho endaweni yesigameko.
No comment.
Angiphawuli lutho.
Thank you, sir. My lord, may I quickly approach Mr. Mncube to find out if there's anything that I've left out. Thank you, my lord. Thank you for the indulgence, my lord. Sir, thank you very much. I've got no further question for you. And thank you for the assistance. As it please the court, my lord. Maybe just before we wrap, a bit of an extension. Further on, accused number, not accused, Mr. Mncube would further tell this court that on the date of the occasioning of the incident, he never knew accused number 1 and accused number 2. He only started to know them when they were brought to court at Boxback at Springs, in Boxback, yes.
So lesithathu ukuthi ayengabazi umsola oqala nowesibili ngaphambilini waqala ukubazi sebeya enkantolo sebehomacala enkantolo yase-Boxback eSprings.
No comment on that, my lord.
Akukho engakuphawula ngalokho.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel.
Thank you, sir.
Have a bright future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Advocate MNISI was giving the version of Mr. Mncube about the gun, cell phone, and his whereabouts during the time when Senzo MEYIWA was killed. And the gun, it was cleared on the 636 case that is in court. It's not the first time this gun has been tested for the same case. It was discovered that that gun was cleared, but we don't know where Mr. Mncune is getting these results that he's bringing in court. Because, this court is kind of crazy. Because even the phone records of Vodafone, from Pinky, who was in court as a state witness, he delivered that there was no communication between Kelly and Mncube or either of these 5 accused. And at the same time, this version that is being delivered by MNISI in court, it shows that even the cell phone for Mr. Mncube was taken by the investigators, and it was cleared from the 636 case. So only Stein that is bringing this kind of evidence in court. Where they are getting it, how they made it, because the service provider, Vodacom, doesn't show any record in their records that there was ever a link between Kelly and accused number 5, number 1, number 2, number 3. There was never something like that. So I just don't understand. I'm trying to understand exactly. And when MNISI talk about that Mr. Masondo was part of the investigation team, whereby they took the phone to go and check and the gun to be checked if it was ever linked to the 636 case, but it was discovered that there was no linkage to that case. But today we see the same firearm coming in court with the ballistic expert called Mncune. Now he's linking it to this case. How? Even his results are not even clear how he is linking this to this case. So it's kind of a merry-go-round going on in that court. You don't understand. You see Mr. MNISI, when Mr. MNISI is delivering the version of Mncube, there comes Baloyi objecting to it, saying that it should be supported by documents. But then the state promised to call Masondo up to date, they never call Masondo. So now, MNISI, they're saying they are going to make sure if the state doesn't call Masondo to come and testify about this tests that were done in the firearm and in the cell phone of Mr. Mncube. So that is going to be a problem for the state. The state doesn't have a case here. What they really relied on cell phone, and they trusted Stein and they trusted Mangena that Mangena is going to be on their side and is going to pin these guys down. But now it's not working because the fact in any case, when you want to build a strong case against a certain individual or individuals, you go to the scene of crime, you go to the neighbors, you get the people who were in the house or who were among the place whereby there was a scene of crime. You pull one by one with different kind of, you bring a team of investigators. Then one takes this one, the next one takes this one. Then, because you want to build a case, because they will give you different versions as to what really happened when the crime was committed. Then it's when you start to build up or construct a really case, because the construction of evidence within the space where the crime was committed, it's very crucial. So when you ask this same Ballistic, called Mangena, expert, he went to the scene. He never talked to the people who were in the house. He didn't even trust the people who were in the house to give a version as to what really transpired. But he decided not to do that. There's a brigadier called Brigadier Keninga. He also failed to meet the same people who were in the house, question them one by one, trying to understand exactly what happened. None of this. They rely on phones. That they will get that, they will take their phones, they will try to look at pictures in their phones, then look who they were calling, who did they communicate with. And it's kind of crazy to do such a thing. If you're a serious investigator, you want to bring the case to rest. It's when you go to the scene of crime, talk to neighbors who you think this neighbor might have some kind of information. Then you sit down that person, you ask that person, will tell you some few things. If that person doesn't know, he will give you nothing. But if he knows something, he will give you something. That's how investigation works. Then you get to the scene of crime. You discover that the scene of crime was clean. You have to know who tampered with the scene of crime. How was it tampered? Who were in the house? Where's the blood? Somebody was shot here, but there's no blood. What happened? Where was this person shot? Where are the cartridges if he was shot? What kind of a gun? You ask the same people who were in the house. Because one of them, it's not everybody will run. They will run, but one will just give a glimpse to that firearm and know, oh, the firearm looked like this. I saw the firearm was like this. Because, when somebody pulls a firearm, before you get afraid, you first look, then you see there's a firearm, then you can close your eyes, maybe run away. But the first thing, you have to have a glimpse of who is pointing the gun to you. Until that person tells you, don't look at me. Then you start to realize this is the problem now. We're in a big problem. Not this kind of construction of scene of crime that has happened, that is constructed over the phones, phone data, going to Excel, changing PDF, changing information that came from the service provider, a document that cannot be changed. You transfer the information to an Excel spreadsheet to fit your narrative. Stain, you're so corrupt to do such a thing. Anyway, family, I don't know what you think about this. Drop your own comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I love you all. Ngiyanithanda ngothando luka love. Ngithi kuni bantu bakithi. Bravo, bravo, bravo.